Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 366 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Vincent Trujillo. He's a digital agency owner and he loves to travel and he's got a lifestyle business, but there's bigger things out there that he does that I really want you to hear about, so it'll be kind of an inspiration for you all. Now, I hope you didn't miss episode 365. John Wong was on here. He's a local SEO expert out of Canada, and he's created a wonderful lifestyle business coming as an immigrant from Vietnam, hardworking family, and he worked for the red pages and the yellow pages, but he's now doing his own thing. Now, how would you like to hear your own voice here on Screw the Commute? Well, if the show's helped you out at all in your business or given you ideas to help you start a business, we want to hear about it. Visit screwthecommute.com and look for a little blue sidebar that says send a voicemail. Click on it, talk into your phone or computer, and tell me how the show's helped you, or and put your website on there too, so you get a big shout out in front of thousands of people on a future episode of Screw the Commute in your own voice. Now, while you're over there, pick up a copy of our automation ebook. It's my gift to you for listening to the show. We sell it for $27, and it's saved me millions and millions. Really, we figured it out, 7.5 million keystrokes. All right. And automates my business, lets me take customers away from other people because I get back to them lightning fast, and the other people are, I don't know what they're doing, but people like to get taken care of quickly. So this tells you all the ways you can automate that. So screwthecommute.com/automate free, screwthecommute.com/automate free. And again, while you're over there, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. Does all kinds of cool things. You put it on your cell phone and tablet. We got instructions on how to use it. All right, I know people are still freaking out. I mean, work from home search volume still going crazy on Google. Homeschooling is going crazy. But we have a school that's the only one of its kind in the USA, probably the world. It's licensed to operate by the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia. Took me 3 years to get the license, but guess what? You don't have to live in Virginia to attend. It's a good quality distance learning school, not like the distance learning they're shoving to these kindergartners who, I heard some crazy statistics, like 300% of F grades are higher than they were at this time last year. I mean, it's really bad for the young kids out there, this pandemic. But what I want you to do is not suffer from those kind of things. I want you to be able to sell from home and legitimately and get a skill that's in high demand in the entire world. Every small business on earth, every business at all needs email marketing and blogs and websites and shopping carts and chat bots and all the stuff that we teach that's hardcore skills, and you won't be saddled with debt for going to a 4-year college that's going to put you in deep debt, and you're going to get out and compete for jobs at Starbucks. I mean, we have people making money long before they ever graduate to school because people really need this service. So check that out at imtcva.org. All of the stuff for myself and Vince will be in the show notes. And later you'll find out how you can get a scholarship to the school to either use yourself or gift to somebody if you're in my mentor program. All right, let's get to the main event. Vince is an entrepreneur, and it's Trujillo. I'm going to mess it up again. Trujillo.
Vince Trujillo.
There you go. I took 1 semester of Spanish, so ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? That's all.
Yeah, you got that better. Yeah.
And he's a digital agency owner, former finance geek, and he loves to travel. And his focus now is purpose-driven projects like launching Firefighter Kingdom, which he'll tell us about, and Houses with Hope online. And he supports small business and entrepreneurs by empowering them through content and training to optimize their platforms online for organic traffic. Vince, are you ready to screw?
Let's
The
screw, Tom.
Commute. Yeah, well, I'm sorry about butchering your name. You know, there's a song that's got, I don't know, hundreds of millions of views. It's called First Semester of Spanish Love Song. You got to
Oh
look it
my
up
gosh.
later. It's hysterical.
I guess I'm gonna have to, the Trujillo thing. So the screwing already started with the name.
Yes,
I guess
yes.
we.
I wanted you to feel at home.
Thank
so
you.
so so tell us what you're doing now, and then we'll take you back to see what how you came up through the ranks.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Tom.
Yeah.
With your intro there, I got to learn a lot about you, and man, you're doing everything out there. So it's an inspiration
No, I'm doing
as a fellow.
everything in here. I don't leave my chair ever.
There you go. You're doing everything in there, but
Yeah.
you're reaching out from your chair. So you should actually have a course on how to reach out from your chair and reach thousands of people. But right now, what I'm doing, I'm operating a digital agency, and I've been doing that for about 6-7 years now. Formerly, I was in the finance world, but
Wait, tell everybody what a digital agency is. What do you do for people?
well, I mean, that's probably about a dozen different interpretations of digital agency.
Mm-hmm.
My particular agency, when I first started, was focused on search engine optimization, so SEO.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started my business, I wanted to figure out a way that I could press some buttons and make commerce happen. For me, I didn't go the paid traffic way, which is I probably should have learned that a lot sooner too. But for me, it was fascinating that you could put up blog posts, articles, other things online, videos, now podcasts, and people could find them because they were online searching for things. They had buyer intent or information intent purposes, and they're finding content. And if you put an offer on that, commerce happens. So it was fascinating that I could press buttons. And back then, when I started in SEO, it was a lot easier to press buttons, put up articles, and some titles and descriptions and tags, and you could get a little bit more traffic. Now it's kind of evolving. So digital agency for me was building an online platform for a small business owner or an entrepreneur. That was their website, social media properties, business listings, citations, whatever that may be, content platforms like YouTube or podcasting, and then applying SEO principles so that they can get found around their products or services or content pieces that they're putting out there.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. I mean, I was taught by the best of the best back in the early 90s or the mid
Wow.
90s, Michael Campbell. And I mean, he could get
Okay.
all 10 spots on what there was no Google at that time. It was like Alta Vista and Ask Jeeves and things like that
Wow.
back in those days. I could get 4 to 6 for just my own websites. And then over the years, I mean, for 10, 12 years, I was a top 1, 2, or 3 on Google for 10 years straight on major keywords. But then it just got, I mean, just massively more millions and millions of people, and Google getting tougher every minute. So we switched to paid traffic about 5 or 6 years ago because
don't
I
blame
just
you.
couldn't fight it out anyway. It just was too much effort with potential to Google to turn the dial, and then you disappear off the face of the earth again. So I switched to
Absolutely.
paid traffic.
And we've seen it happen with dozens of small businesses, ex-clients who are no longer with us. And that's a big part and reason why a lot of the agency work and some of the passion projects I'm working on now are really heavily into content marketing
Mm-hmm.
and putting out content, whether that's YouTube videos, because that's part of Google's search engine platform there. It's second or third largest search engine is YouTube, and podcasts are coming up very favorably in search too. So we pivoted a little bit more towards helping clients actually figure out ways to reach their target audiences through content, and that actually boosts. It's very natural method of search engine optimization. You can still apply a lot of the same principles to the content, and we're getting a lot better results with that right now too. So yeah, the old traditional SEO is kind of out the window. It's more of applying SEO principles that make Google happy to content is where we're going with it anyways.
Yeah, it's tough in the SEO world. That's for sure. But you've sure got it down. So tell us about these other, I don't know what to call them, like lifestyle projects or bigger picture projects that you got going with firefighters and the Houses with Hope. Tell us about the Firefighter Kingdom.
Well, yeah, thanks for asking about that. So Firefighter Kingdom is a project that myself and the president of the Firefighters Association here in my state came up with, and we wanted to create a platform where firefighters could hear a little bit about information items that were more important to them. So some of that had to do with union business because he's the president of the union association, and some of that also had to do with some of the things that affect firefighters in their own life. So it could be PTSD, it could be family issues associated with being in the fire service. It could be also community outreach and engagement, things that were important to them to put out to the public, maybe an upcoming piece of legislation that they wanted to gather firefighters around, have a little bit of unity around a particular piece of legislation coming up, and that could be national or local for them. So we came up with this idea for this podcast platform. And it's interesting enough that once we started doing this project, we started realizing uh, how many more topics that firefighters really wanted to hear about. And some of that had to do with like entrepreneurship. I
Hmm.
mean, side hustle is a big deal within the firefighter community. They're off 3 or 4 days a week sometimes. And a lot of them pick up extra side projects, businesses. And so it really fit in perfectly with what I was bringing to the podcast.
Well,
And it
even
was,
when they're on, don't they sometimes sit around the station, just waiting, right?
oh, absolutely. I mean,
They
I
could
mean,
have an online hustle right off their phone if they wanted to.
right. Actually, a lot of times they're off. Well, I shouldn't say off. I mean, when they're on call and they're busy, they're really busy.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are pushing, sometimes they'll go 48 hours with, 20, 30 calls. And then sometimes when it's a slow day or a shift, they're in their place drinking coffee, sitting around the table talking and sometimes working on projects that are important to them.
I'm picturing, them doing a Zoom call and say, "Oh, sorry, I have to go put out a fire. I'll be right back."
It's exactly like that. I'm actually on the phone with my partner in it, who's the president of the association, and he works shift still.
Mhm.
And we'll be talking. He goes, "Hey, I gotta go. We got a call." So he heads out.
Yeah,
He'll
somebody's
call me back
cat's in a
later.
tree somewhere.
And well, it's either that or it's something. And he has the same response. Firefighters are an interesting breed. They'll have the same response if it's a cat in a tree, or it's he was at a SWAT situation where the police were at a standoff and he's
Oh.
standing outside. And he's like, "Oh, so anyways, let me finish the conversation." And I'm like, "Where are you?" He's like, "I'm standing outside a SWAT situation here." He says, "Not a big deal. We'll see. It just happens all the time."
Yeah, yeah. And you hear like a bullet fly by. Pshing! Oh,
Right.
yeah.
I
No,
mean,
no problem. Yeah. No, that was just somebody shooting. Don't worry.
these guys are great. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just, we do a lot and care a lot about our first responders and law enforcement and talk about unsung heroes. I mean, you're giving
Absolutely.
kind of a voice to them and catering to them, which is great. So, what about Houses with Hope? What's that?
So Houses with Hope is a project. So 2 years ago, I have a couple of friends, and a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, it was that a friend that I had and knew was into nonprofits and charity work. And at that time, we weren't doing a lot within that space. And my sales manager at the time came and said, "Hey, man, why don't we just start giving or doing a really low cost projects for some of the local nonprofits?" And I was like, "Absolutely." We had done some work here and there, giving away some things, but not as a project, as a movement that we were doing. So we picked up, I remember it was 5 or 10 different nonprofits, did free or really cheap websites for them, set up their online presence, did SEO for them, and one of them was associated with the project of Houses with Hope. And we ended up getting invited, and we went with them to Africa 2 years ago now. And the woman, Rana Jordan, houseswithhope.org. You can go and see a little bit of information about them. But she's been building houses over there for 20 years now. And it
Wow.
started off as a complete fluke. Her daughter went down there for a missionary trip, came back and said, "We have to do something, Mom, about these orphans over there." And that led her to a 20-year project of building houses for widows and orphans in Kenya. And
Wow.
a lot of these turn into house churches too, little Bible studies. So it's a Christian mission that does a lot of good impact locally. And now they're moving into water projects as well as some agriculture going into the next couple of years.
Amazing. So you're able to take your success in the business world and use it to do good for people. Just beautiful. It's what we're all about here. It's absolutely.
Great.
So let's take you back. Were you an entrepreneurial kid? Did you come from an entrepreneurial family? What was the beginning like for you?
Well, I grew up in a small town here in New Mexico, the southern part of the state near the border. I wasn't. I grew up on a farm. I mean, I was all. I think growing up on a farm gave me a really adventurous, out of the box kind of, life growing up as a childhood.
What kind of farm was it? Was it
That was a
animals or
small agriculture farm. We had
agriculture?
corn, we had chili, we had beans. We grew a lot of small stuff. We had some cattle, some horses, pigs, mostly for sustenance and sustaining themselves, but also they would sell some into the local area. But yeah, I mean, growing up like that, it gave me a sense of adventure. And as I got older, I just kind of followed the standard path that a lot of people do. And I was told since I was young, go to school, go to
Hmm.
college, you know, go get a
All the
degree. That's the
brainwashing
most.
I'm fighting against with my school.
Well, yeah, I heard a lot about that in your intro there.
Yeah.
After we had talked a little bit too, and that's so interesting. I think teaching kids that there's a lot other things they can do than just follow the traditional model
Well, they're on
and
their cell
path.
phone all day anyway, so why not make a living?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, when we grew up, there was no cell
No.
phones. We still had to call and ask for Billy on the phone.
Yeah.
But no, I followed that path through high school, and I made a decision. Well, okay, if I'm gonna have to go to college, I'm gonna work in something that had to do with money. I knew that was where it was important. So I went to college. I was on the 8-year, 10-year plan in college
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it didn't fit me. I mean, I dropped out a couple times, and I was just like, I don't like being here. I don't get it. And but I finally graduated and then worked about 12 years in the finance world, in investment banking. I did mortgage banking, did some real estate investing during that time. But I realized that really wearing a suit and tie and stuff to work at a bank wasn't my idea of a life. And so I started. It was closer to 40 years old when I actually started trying to figure out what I really wanted to do and what was going to make me a lot happier at that time.
And so, how did you transition into your agency? Did you save up money? Did you just quit one day your other stuff and start it up? What was the transition period like?
Well, it was a little bit of both. So, I had some money saved up. I had I owned at the time I was living with the girlfriend. We had that, kind of ideal life for where we live. We had a nice place and in a nicer part of town. I had an Audi. I had a good job, when I was working in banking, and it just came upon me. It had been coming for quite some time, but I read Simon Sinek's Start With Why,
Mm-hmm.
and that started to open the door of like, hey, I do not like being in the finance world, and I had not been liking it for quite some time. I wasn't happy in my current relationship, neither was she. But you just kind of just follow like as a zombie, keeping up with the Joneses, doing what you think you're supposed to be doing. Once I read that book, I kind of just opened up a door and I said, hey, I think it's time that I just make a leap. And interesting how intention and energy, when it's placed into a particular path or into a particular direction, the old path starts closing down. I started having problems at work. The industry kind of started shifting a little bit at that time. It was post 2008. I had done very well post 2008 for a couple of years. And it just, things started shifting at my work, with my girlfriend, with everything. And at that time, I just said, hey, I, I have a little bit of money. I have some assets. I ended up selling my car for cash. And I took the money I did have and I said, I'm going to make this leap. Within a month of making that decision, I was out of my job. We had both just been butting heads for a while. I was out of my job. I had moved out of my house with my girlfriend. We had a divorce, even though we weren't, married. I moved out. I was sleeping on a friend's air mattress in a back room of his within a month of making that decision. So whatever little assets I had and had sold and had stashed away, that's all I had. But it happened in a very short period of time after making a decision.
Okay, and so you're sleeping on the air mattress, and you had a dream of I'm going to start a digital agent.
Well,
You
yeah,
jump up, and the thing gets a hole in it and flies around the room. so, so how did
happened
it?
so quick. It happened so quickly, but I had already, when I was in finance, I had been asked to look at work on some startups, business startups, and kind of look at them from a finance angle, which I had experience in, but I did not love. But one of the companies that we looked at was an internet-based company, and a portion of their vision for what they were trying to do had to do with the commerce aspect of online marketing. And when I looked into that, I just thought it was so interesting that you could press buttons and make commerce happen. And I
And what
love
year was this?
this was 2010 to 12, in that range.
Yeah, I've
2000
already been online pushing buttons for 16 years.
yeah, and since 2005, it was that's when I started getting into real estate investing instead of going online. So that's when we started doing fix and flips. But at that time, I had heard about people making money on the internet about 2004 or 5. And I was like, man, I just don't know how to do it. So at that time, I got into real estate investing instead, because that's kind of, I knew that area a little bit more. But I wish I'd have got in at 2005, because 2005 to 10 was a really good time for, I mean, email marketing was good. Some of the paid advertising was good. Facebook was barely going online. Google ads were doing ridiculous, right? So yeah, I chose to go into, I had already known about it a little bit, and the idea of pushing buttons made a lot of sense to me, or I was willing to investigate it. And so SEO was a place that made kind of sense to me. I could lay a foundation with words and coding that could attract customers with buyer intent to a page, to a business, to a piece of content online. And I decided to train myself. I spent some of my last remaining money into some coaching programs, which I think is always very important, to educate yourself with people who've been there before. And within a year, I had started picking up my first SEO clients, because I come from a sales background. So I applied some of my skills and strengths. So a lot of the guys in SEO weren't good at sales necessarily. And so one of my coaches said, hey, if you don't mind doing sales, done for you services within SEO is a good way to go. So go out and sell some. And I started selling it. And that's how I started my agency. I went from my first client paying me $500 a month to having a multiple 6-figure agency within probably 2 or 3 years.
Wow. So for anybody out there listening, you can do 50 ways to leave your lover. You only took him one. Okay. And quit your job and start something basically out of nothing. I mean, because that's what you did. You didn't have a background in it. You started it and you did it. And a lot of people, I mean, I think some survey said that like 98% of people in the corporate world wish they had their own business, but hardly anybody does anything about it.
Right.
But you did, and if it took sleeping on an air mattress, which for me, that wouldn't work too good. It would bust. So you were able to do it, and then that spins off into doing projects that you just really love, the Firefighter Kingdom and the Houses with Hope. I mean, geez, there's people on this earth, Vince, that are sheltered right now and not having tigers eat them in the middle of the night because of you. Think of that.
I would say it's because of the people who are doing those projects, but I'm helping them.
Well,
definitely.
Yeah, but I mean, it takes a village, right? There you go.
Yeah. I guess I'm one of the members of that village.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we're going to get Vince to tell us what a typical day looks like for him and how he stays motivated. So folks, about over 20 years now ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing guru world on its head, in that people like me were charging $50,000 or $100,000 up front to help them. And I know a lot of these people, if they gave them $50,000 up front, they'd be hiding out in Africa and you'd never find them again. What I did is I tied my success to your success. So what I did was I said, okay, you're going to pay an entry fee and then a percentage of your profits that was capped at $50,000. So for me to get my $50,000, you had to make $200,000. Well, people just loved this idea because they knew I wouldn't disappear on them. I wouldn't get my $50,000. So 1,700 students later, 20 years later, it's still going strong. And it's I coin it as the most unique, most successful, longest running ever program of its kind. Nobody's ever challenged me on that ever in 20 years because I actually begged them, come on, bring your program and compare it to mine line for line. And nobody has the guts to do it because you have an immersion trip to my retreat center where you live in the house, the estate with me for an immersion weekend. We shoot videos in my TV studio for you. You come back for another day by yourself where we shoot videos. Everything else, all the training with me and my staff is one-on-one. We'll even take over your screen, show you where to click. It's just amazing program over many, many years. And nobody's chasing me around with lawsuits or chargebacks and all the bad stuff that a lot of the ripoffs do. You can check out the details at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And if you're in my mentor program, you get a scholarship to my school. The tuition for the school is $19,000. So it's a hefty bonus just to be in my mentor program. And you can use it yourself or gift it to somebody. So it's really, really powerful. I'm easy to get along with. If you want to call and discuss it, there's no big machine gun nest pressuring you into anything. If you can't see the value of this, I probably couldn't help you anyway. So check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And there we go. Would love to see you in the program. All right, let's get back to the main event. We got Vincent Trujillo here, and he is a great guy, and he's got a digital agency, but he's doing things that are life-saving for people and really great things for our first responder firefighters. So really love that. So Vince, what's a typical day look like for you?
Well, right now I've been focusing a lot on my daily activities, about coming up with daily rituals that are going to help me get where I want to be in my business, and also helping out these passion projects. And that's actually kind of why I pivoted into what I'm doing right now. So, running my agency, I decided I wanted to work more on passion, impact-driven projects. That's why I started the First Responder podcast for Firefighter Kingdom and Houses with Hope. And that all kind of came to me because I started my daily practice of doing meditation in the morning and kind of envisioning my ideal life. So I try to break it down into a morning ritual and an evening ritual, and it has to do with meditation, visioning, and then kind of trying to focus on the top things that I do in my life. I get up in the morning anywhere from 5:30 to 6:30.
You're still on an air mattress?
Luckily not.
That's where it all started. I mean,
my girlfriend and I recently bought a mattress, and she won out on the kind she wanted. It's a little soft for me, but it feels
can't
like
you get those ones that you got like a steering wheel on it and you can make it do like on TV that you can do have one side
they go up and down?
Yeah.
No, it's not that, unfortunately. Then I could dial in my own side, but it's nice. So it's a little bit better than an air mattress. But get up, I go for a walk, I do some meditation. I then
can you listen?
sometimes.
Let me ask you something.
Yep.
Can you meditate while you're walking?
The real answer from meditation people is probably not, but that's what I do.
Okay.
I kind of close my eyes sometimes. Yeah, it's early enough that I'm not worried about
Has your nose been broken a few times from running into poles and stuff?
No, but some people probably look at me like this is another one of the guys in the area that's walking around, on something, I guess.
Yeah.
But I do that, and then I kind of plan out my day, and then I have like a couple of shifts. I do a morning sprint. I get on with my team in the morning. I have a call, and then
wait a minute, a morning sprint. What is that?
It's hard for me to like kind of stay focused throughout the day, so I try to do like these sprints. Like a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours.
Oh,
of work.
So you're not talking wind sprints where you're running down the street and meditating at the same time.
No, I like to stay in shape. I hate running.
Okay, so the sprint is like a burst of business or something in the morning.
Yeah, I found that it's pretty good for me to know like when my energy levels are working well, and so in the morning between my time around 9 a.m. to about noon, I can get a lot of work done, and then I need to eat something, and then I kind of chill for an hour and a half, and then
so you don't eat until noon. Or
I've been doing intermittent fasting. Actually.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah. You're doing that too.
Yeah, noon to 8 is my window.
Right, there you go. So I do about 10 p.m. to about between 12 and noon and 2 p.m.
Oh, that's even further. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I try not to be like overly strict about it. If I'm hungry, I'll eat something at noon. If I'm hungry, I'll eat something at 11. If if it's getting in my way, I'll eat. I used to be a breakfast guy, breakfast burritos every morning, but I found, man, that that would just drag me down.
Yeah, you're foggy the
mid-morning.
whole day from that.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that I don't, I'm fine. And I used to be a huge breakfast guy, but anyways, I'll intermittent fast till, I need to eat around noon to 2 o'clock. And then, in the afternoons, I noticed that I like doing something more like watching a video or learning something. And then my energy picks back up again. I'll do another 2 or 3 hour work sprint and then, go work out or, prepare to hang out with, my girlfriend when she gets off of work about 5 or 6 o'clock.
Awesome. Now, how do you stay motivated? You're working by yourself out of your home, right?
Yeah, we just stopped having an office a little bit over about a year and a half ago, and my team's all digital now,
Right.
and I have to get up and move. So, when I feel myself like my lower back or my legs falling asleep, I have
That's
a standing
because your
work-
mattress is too soft. Get a
Yeah,
board. Did you ever hear that? When I go to Westin hotels, it's like so soft. I can't walk when I get up in the morning. I get them to bring a piece of plywood and they stick it under, and that
Really?
firms it up. Yeah.
and that works for you?
Yeah, just get go to Home Depot, get a 4x8 sheet of plywood, cut it, have them rip it down the middle so it's like 2 feet wide, and measure how long your bed is, and have them cut it off and just throw it under your mattress.
I
Yep.
got to do that. I've been thinking about that. It's one of these like gel, topped, but the rest of it's a regular mattress.
Yeah, I
So-
don't have a gel top on mine, but I know those ones at the Westin are known for being like sleeping on a cloud, and then I get up, my back is killing me. So I just call up. They hear it all the time, so they already got plywood ready, and they come and shove it under there, and I don't hurt in the morning. So it's worth a try for a sheet of plywood.
Oh, I'm going to try that for sure.
I
Actually,
wouldn't
thinking about
use
that.
1/4 inch or anything, but
No.
but get a 1/2 inch or more plywood and to give it a shot.
Well, it's funny you said that. When I was working in my office in the middle of the day, if I needed a little break, I would lay on the floor. And that's when I discovered I really like laying on the floor. I really
Yeah, it's
like a really
firm. That's
firm- Yeah. I can get a little nap, except my head, kind of rolls oddly, but I can get a nice nap on the floor.
Yeah,
usually.
and if it doesn't work sticking it under the mattress, stick it on top of the mattress.
I want to see what she says, but yeah, I'll see if I can do that. I don't know if I might have to cut into some area of this mattress. It's pretty big.
Really, just to slide it between the mattress and box spring?
Yeah, it's really.
I mean, mine is
high.
like a foot high in my house here, but I got a firm one to start with, because those soft ones kill you. Yeah, we'll give it a try. So,
well-
so how do people get a hold of you?
Well, they can go to my new channel now. It's on YouTube, and I've been running it. So my channel's geared to helping entrepreneurs, small business owners figure out how to optimize their online presence and platform around content, and to get found through organic search and traffic. You can go to Breakthrough Code on YouTube, and that's BREAKTHRU
Oh,
code. I
okay.
spell it weird. I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Well, it's
People,
shorter, at least.
shorter.
You got
It looks cool on the logo, but it's harder to search
Yeah.
for sometimes. Yeah, you can go to Breakthrough Code on my YouTube channel. Check me out. Go to breakthroughcode.io, my website, and you can go visit me at firefighterkingdom.com. That's a great new platform. We got about 17 podcast episodes in, and we're going to be promoting some coffee this winter, and 10% of the proceeds are going to go to help local firefighter foundations, and also houseswithhope.org. Also, we're going to be doing a big promotion around the holidays now to build 100 homes for the holidays out in Kenya, and we'll also be selling coffee through that platform too. So it's a whole thing. You can grab a cup of coffee, buy a bag, build a house, and save a life. So
Wow.
both of those platforms.
Can't
Check
beat-
us out.
Can't beat that. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to come on, man. It's an inspiring story that you're using your business to do much bigger things, and it's interesting too. Reading one book made a big turning point in your life and had you kick your girlfriend out. I'm not sure that was the goal of the book, but
That's the way I'll view it. I think it was the other way around, but
Oh.
yeah, I definitely I contributed to that happening.
Well, we who cares among podcast friends, So all right. Well, anyway, thanks a lot. Keep doing great things, and we really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much for having me, Tom. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody. We'll catch y'all in the next episode. See you later.